My husband no longer wants to have children because he's worried about the rise of AI. Divorce this loser. I'm 30, he's 45. We're supposed to start trying for a baby next month. We've already done all the preconception tests. Everything was ready. Do people do preconception tests these days? Is that a thing? Like, I thought you just like, do it. And then like, if you have problems, you go test or something. Anyway, today he told me he was doing his research, reading Goldman Sachs projections and talking to people who know things. Well, if he's listening to Goldman Sachs, I'm already lost here. But he now believes there's no point in having children because future adults won't be able to find a job of any kind due to AI. And since statistically speaking, it's highly unlikely that our child would be one of the lucky exceptions in a world of desperation, he thinks it's wiser not to bring anyone into it. He works in finance and is well educated. No, he's a dumbass. If he worked in finance and knew anything about history, it's that innovation breeds more jobs and more prosperity. As per capita GDP rises, we lift people out of poverty through innovation. Now, whether that's through some form of, in the future, universal basic income is beside the point. Obviously, if you have very few extremely rich corporations, governments assign some form of safety net, like a Medicaid for poor or welfare for poor, right? Those are social safety nets that exist today. That would only become more extreme in the future if you had very few extremely rich and many that did not have assets, right? So your social safety net would likely be larger. But aside from focusing on the social safety net, let's put some logic on for a moment. When people thought that there would never be a need for human labor again because of the cotton mill, the machines that ended up leading the Luddite revolution to raid factories and destroy looms and mills and machines because they were worried that their jobs were being replaced. What ended up happening? Per capita GDP is 100x what it is to what it was back then. Life expectancies substantially longer today when we factor in infant mortality. You got to remember how many children died in the past relative to children who die today. So we should look at per capita GDP, and then we'll keep reading his post. Global per capita GDP historical over time, like some kind of chart, right? So in other words, how much money does every head receive over time? This is just the last 60 years here. Look at per capita GDP over the last 60 years. Now, yes, the dollar has also lost value in fairness. Okay, we'll give you that. But let's say the dollar since the 1980s has lost 3x its value, okay? So let's just 3x 2,500 for a moment. That's 7,500. So still, and I'm throwing an inflation adjustment on this, assuming that this is not already real GDP, which there's no indication that this is real GDP. This appears to be just nominal GDP, so not inflation adjusted. You still have about twice the per capita GDP that you did in the 60s. Take this all the way back to the 1800s, and it's even more extreme. So really, yes, is it possible? Oh yeah, look at this. Per capita GDP over the long term. Look at this. This is actually remarkable. Oh, and this one's adjusted for inflation. Wow. Global average GDP per capita over the long term. Our world and data. Historical GDP. Look at this. This is insane. If innovation led to more pain for children, we would not see the per capita basically value of every human head skyrocket like this. I mean, look at this. 1860, Civil War era, inflation adjusted, $1,800 per year of GDP, all the way out to today, where your per head GDP is about $20,600. What you could actually do is you could type in, let's do Ventura County per capita GDP, for example. You could type in, just to Google really quickly, a per capita GDP search, typically for each era, and get a per capita for a particular area. So you could even get the little AI overviews. This is not per capita. This is going to be like a household. I don't think it's this high. I think the AI is wrong. Let me try Los Angeles County per capita GDP. Usually it's somewhere between 35 to 40,000 per head. Yeah, okay, whatever. I'm not trusting some of these numbers, right? Here we go. Per capita, Census Bureau, per capita, 2019 to 2023, 44,000 per capita GDP for LA County. That's normal. Household income is probably the 87 number that they're showing you, right? So you take some of the numbers with a grain of salt when you get the AI results. AI is famous for pissing me off. But on a per cap basis, per person, GDP has skyrocketed. So this idea of like, oh, let's not have children because people are not going to have jobs. Yes, is it possible that the unemployment rate is going to rise? Sure. In fact, I project that in the next few years, the unemployment rate will probably rise to 10% and stay at 10% for quite a while. But wait a minute. That still means 90% of people have jobs who are in the labor force. You know, probably more than 85% of people once you account for the longer term unemployed individuals. And so there is going to be an adjustment phase where skill sets have to adapt. But I mean, think about what jobs children can do in the future, at least with what we know today. We don't even yet know what new jobs are going to be created in the future. But jobs that we know that are going to be hard to replace with AI in the near term: construction, electrical, plumbing, framing, roofing. Could you imagine an Optimus robot climbing the ladder, put roofing shingles down without sliding off the side? It could happen in the future, but I think it's going to be decades. In-person care, setting anesthetic needles, IV lines, nursing, doctors, healthcare, therapy. So when I talk therapy, I'm talking, you know, not only therapists, but I'm also talking real estate agents who are basically therapists for their clients. You know, there are a lot of things that we can do. And so this depression over, oh my gosh, I'm going to have nothing to do because of AI in the future. This is insane. Investment Joy says, shout out to Investment Joy. Kids don't have to be expensive. Get in a church with people who don't worship their kids, only God, and you'll find out having a child isn't that expensive. Our group is less than $5,000 per kid per year. I think children are amazing. The poor live like the wealthy from 100 years ago. Ooh, interesting way to put that. Here's a life hack. Kids don't have to play sports. Oh, is that potentially because of the expenses of that? So comments here from Investment Joy. Check out his channel on YouTube. But anyway, so look at this here. And since statistically speaking, it's highly unlikely that our child would be one of the lucky exceptions. I think this person misunderstands the unemployment rate. Even during the Great Depression, 70% of people still had jobs. You know, so like, what history are you looking at? This is quite sad. He thinks it's wiser not to bring anyone into it. This is so defeatist. I have 7 children and I want to have more children. 5 babies are eating and 2 children are sleeping. What is this, summer break or something like this? Strapped into their high chairs? Anyway, he works in finance and is well educated, but to me, his reasoning sounds terribly simplistic. I like this girl. This 30-year-old needs to find someone else. He's not a futurologist. Hell yeah, woman. Nor a sociologist. Let's go. Or an anthropologist. I don't even know what these 3 things are, but hell yeah. How can he make such a drastic and catastrophic prediction with so much certainty? Do you have any sources or references that he can help me challenge or soften his rigid view? And this guy's in finance? Man, that's embarrassing for the finance industry. Let's see what some of the comments are. There's a deeper issue. There's no correlation with wanting to have kids and the rise of AI. What is it? What are you saying? Are you an AI bot? He just doesn't want to have kids and is rationalizing it. That could be exactly right. He doesn't want to have children because they won't have jobs. What about having children to have children, for them to be people? Let's go, David. Birth rate has traditionally been higher in poorer and less educated regions of the world with worse prospects for jobs. Let's go! Funny he's a finance guy because there's a well-known quote in finance. We have 2 classes of forecasters. Those who don't know and those who know they don't know. Let's go! I concur with the comments below. He doesn't want to have kids. Maybe because he's genuinely worried and he's rationalizing it. Because if Goldman Sachs said it, it must be true. Let's go. I think he's kind of right. Dislike. I already have a kid and I'm really worried about the future, what the future would look like. It's not about the job. It's about not being able to watch them suffer. Dude. This defeatist opinion that you bring a human into the world that they will only suffer is so depressing and sad. Is every day gonna be happy? Of course not. But you live life for the challenge, the ups and downs. And for you to be the arbiter, to say, I will not even give somebody a chance, is kind of disgusting on you. This poster. Well, poster's husband. Anyway, that one pisses me off. I hate that one.
Why not advertise these things that you told us here? I feel like nobody else knows about this.
We'll try a little advertising and see how it goes.
Congratulations, man. You have done so much. People love you. People look up to you.
Kevin Paffrath there, financial analyst and YouTuber. Meet Kevin. Always great to get your take.